It's your boy Salim from Notorious S back with another video. Baby. Man, I want to talk about, well, I'm going to dive into the subject anyways, right? You guys read the title. It's 5 books that I think every young man or every man has to read in his life, just because I think they're so impactful that you can't even help, you can't help but to have to read these books. Now, I'm going to make a disclaimer. 4 out of these 5 books I think are like they should be mandatory to read. The 5th one I added because it's an honorable mention so far. I think it's not as important as the 4 first ones, but I think it's definitely important. And if you have time to read, you should definitely read this book. Now I'm gonna give them an order, right? Now without further ado, let's get right into the topic at hand. You heard me? Now, the first one, funny enough, this is a book that I'm not even done reading. It's called The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. This book is like, it's so funny because, bro, I read a lot of books. You can even like look behind me. I have like a floating shelves. I have about 30 books on this one. I have like books right here behind my camera. I read a lot because I think like you need it, bro. You have a lot of free time in your hands. Instead of being on freaking Instagram, just read and become a more knowledgeable guy altogether. But there's things you have to learn that people are not going to teach you. And if they're not going to teach it to you, well, then you have to teach yourself, right? And reading is the best way. Now, this book is like, I love this book because I've read a lot of self-help books about personal finances and all these things, but none of them ever spoke about a lot of the preconceived notions and misconceptions about money and how to become wealthy in our society that people just accept as being true because we were raised to think that these things are true. Putting money in your 401ks, IRAs, or if you're in Canada, RSPs, and our ESPs and all these things, thinking that they're going to lead you to being successful. And he talks about the importance of wealth while you can still enjoy your wealth, because what we're being sold as like middle class or like upper middle class is essentially to work all your life to have a fraction of your life that you can enjoy, but we typically don't enjoy that part of life when we're young, vibrant, and we actually have fun. We can actually enjoy all these things to the fullest, and that's what he talks about. And he breaks down a lot of the misconceptions about money and wealth and retirement that people think are true. And he even compares a lot of the strategies or things that are being told by other authors, by other millionaires, gurus, and breaks them down and makes them look kind of goofy, to be quite honest with you. But this shit is really good. I don't even know what else to say. I'm at page like 93, and so far I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I just love this book so far. So I might even do a review later, but so far this shit is dope. So this is a must. Now the second one, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Look, this book I read about three times. And it's funny because every time I read this book, it's like I get new information, because I don't think you could really truly like absorb the essence of a book in one read, because there's just so many things to focus on. And depending on where you're at in your life, you're going to have a different lens when reading the same paragraph, the same book, the same chapters, because your level of awareness increases, your experiences increase, and they allow you to see the situation, maybe some things that are written in the book from a different perspective, right? This book is just so good because Napoleon Hill, he essentially uses a conversation with the devil as an analogy to shed light on a lot of deficiencies of our society, of us as individuals, a lot of the traps that we fall into that are supposedly set by the devil to take control of us on earth before we even go to the hell, right? And he breaks he compares basically the way we see the devil, or the way that the devil is being painted to us, versus the true form of the devil, or what it is really, the devil and God and all these things. But this might not even be what you're looking for, but he keep in mind that this was written way before now. So he talks about the education system and why it's flawed, how it should be corrected, why it breeds like an inadequate society or future leaders of society, why it's not good. A lot of the things that impede people from being able to do what they truly want to do, like bad habits like overindulgence in sex, alcohol, gambling, money, and all these things, and how to get rid of these things, and how to stay away from a life of drifting. That's what he calls it. I'm not going to tell you the whole book, but this shit is really good and you got to read it. If you don't get it, you might not be there mentally. It's okay, because it's quite complicated. Like, you can read it surface level and go through the book, but to really truly understand the book, I think you might need a second read. But it is what it is. Check it out, okay? Third one, and this one's beat up. I don't even have the cover no more, right? I just have the book. It's How to Make Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yo, this book is one of the first ones I read when I started like doing self-improvement. Not that I thought I needed it, but I was, somebody was coaching me and they were telling me, you know what, bro, like check it out, read the book. And I say that because I was never like shy. I was always social as an individual. I don't really think that I needed it per se until I read it. And this is one of the books that gives you a lot of anecdotes about a lot of historical figures that use these tricks, all these strategies to make friends, influence people, and become influential themselves. And honestly, bro, he says it himself in the book. You don't need to use all the strategies. Even one of them, well implemented, is gonna make a huge difference. Like in a society where like I'm speaking from the heart, by the way. In a society where like people feel like lonely, more and more lonely, if you could implement one of them successfully, you're gonna make a lot of friends. And I think we could all use that. Like if you look at people nowadays that speak about friendships, networking, and all these things, it's about making other people feel special, right? When they're with you. And what better way than to implement either one of these strategies? I'm gonna give you the one that I implement to this day. He was talking. I don't know who it was. It was like an historical figure that every time they met somebody, they would take that person's information, first name, last name, date of birth, and they would put it in a notepad or a notebook. And before that said person's birthday approached, they'd have a letter sent with I think like an anecdote or of when they met the person, and shit, and just send it to the person. And it's like something so, it seems so insignificant, but it really touches somebody, like people in their hearts, when you remember them, you remember something about them and make them feel good on their birthday, right? And I use that every time, and people are kind of shocked. You know, I have people's birthdays, and you know, people that matter to me, but even people that I meet sometimes in my phone, and I send them a message, right? And I make them feel special, and people just rally, they just flock to you because they feel like you care about them. You know, when you're genuine, it actually shows. You know what I'm saying? And this book is really good. I only read it once. I probably should read it again, but I'm not done with my current book. So once again, How to Make Friends, How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? Other book, the fourth book, I don't have with me because I lent it to my friend. It's called The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi. Essentially, look, if I say it's for young men, because my channel is for young men anyways, but if you're a woman, you could definitely get some value out of the channel, so don't go nowhere, you hear me? But bro, for real, it's for young men. It's how to understand intergender dynamics between men and women, and how like we all have like a certain strategy that we use when we date. Guys have one, girls have one, and it's rooted in, bro, evolution. You know how guys, we always kind of do the same thing, and all guys can understand one another. Like we all think we're special, but the way we date and we like talk to girls, we can all sit in a room and kind of compare our strategies. You're gonna find somebody in the room that has the same as you. So he breaks it down. He breaks down a lot of the misconceptions that have been sold to us, bro. Like you grow up in this country or in the Western Hemisphere of the world, you're gonna be sold some ways of thinking. That's what people don't get. When you watch TV, read books, and grow up on a lot of Disney shit, you're being sold propaganda about the opposite sex that is not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? So he breaks down all that and he compares really like the more evolutionary biology way of men and women to date and how you can implement that in your life to have a better outcome, bro. Because if you listen to your heart or be yourself, it's not always gonna come off or give you the best result. Let's be honest. Now, bro, this is a disclaimer. This shit is written in, I'd say, complicated English for the average reader. For like, if you're just starting out reading, I'm gonna be honest with you, you might not get everything that he's saying. Especially since like Rollo like writes like a blogger, but like an old school guy, you might not fuck with it. If you don't fuck with it, there's a lot of other outlets or ways you can get information about intergender dynamics. But I think firmly, every young man, every man, it should be a part of your curriculum as a man and learn out how to interact with the opposite sex, because these days, bro, it could be deadly. Dead ass. It could be deadly. So don't take it for granted. If it's not him, you could go to AMS. You can go to anybody that you look into for direction. I don't think everybody's fit to give you advice, honestly. That's why I don't want to go up in YouTube as being looked after as a relationship guy, because I'm not an expert. You know what I'm saying? But I have common sense. So if it's not this guy, I shout out to King Dreism or King Dre. I think his YouTube channel is called the the Captain Save a Bro show. Really good information on how to deal with women. It's like one of the purest ones so far. I really like his shit. Alpha Male Strategies, obviously AMS the GOAT. I really like how he does it. Because remember, guys, it's not about hating girls. It's about getting better. Cool. Last one. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This is the one that I said I don't really consider like as on the same level as the other ones, because it's not really a self-help book per se. Like it's a book that has wisdom hidden in it, right? And there's a lot of subtle hints at at the type of people you're gonna meet in your life and how you can interact with them, and there's a lesson, there's a moral being told in the story, right? So if you look at like a lot of the different characters, they're portrayed, or I think the way I received it is they're portrayed to look like some of the individuals you're gonna meet in your life, like the crystal shop owner. There's like, he goes to Morocco at some point and he lives there and he meets a crystal shop owner who sells like little crystal glasses. And his whole demeanor is that of somebody that lives life that's not too old, but that gave up on their dreams and that dwells on the fact that they haven't realized that what they wanted. And everybody knows somebody like that in their life. It's like their life's not over, but you see them like they're like dead fish going down the drain. It's like they've given up on life, right? That's for one. Two, I don't want to tell the whole story, but like he meets a girl eventually whom he falls in love with and all this shit. But he still has to go on his mission. And to me, the way I see this, that's a man's purpose. Even though like you fall in love and you find your soulmate or whatever you want to call it, it's not an excuse to not go after your purpose and to become a man, because being a man means that you gotta like prioritize certain things, which is your purpose. Like go, because that's what you derive pleasure and fulfillment from. You know what I'm saying? And so like this book, I think it's a great book. It's a great read. It has a lot of omens. It talks about a lot of the different things that we, you know, it speaks about spirituality. Now you might not believe in that, bro. It's up to you. But overall, I gave it a high rating because I always wondered like what people thought about it. Like why did people say that it was a great book? And after reading it, I could say for a fact that I think it's a great read as well. Right? That's my fifth and last book, if I'm not mistaken. Look, this is all I had to say. Now, you might have to go back. I know I was speaking fast because I speak from passion when I speak about these books. But I think they're really good. I might do an update later on, as I'm reading books every month. But as it stands now, this is what I got to say. So if you like the content, like, subscribe, share. You know why? Because it's free. And I'm going to see you next time. Peace!